This week in Down the Sideline, we got conference championship week, but we're going to start out with the polls. Last week's poll, which rivalry week matchup poses the biggest upset? There was 6 votes for Florida at Florida State, which that's pretty good. I kind of figured, and I think along with everybody else, and we've said it over and over again, just waiting for Florida State to lose. I mean, the first, 2 possessions, it was 2 picks.
3 in the first quarter.
Yeah, it was 3 in the first quarter. Jameis Winston hasn't looked very good. But either way, that's all right. We're going to jump right into last week's picks.
But we also got 12 votes. That's awesome. That's the most votes we've got so far.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Unless there was one of you voting over and over again, then it's not so much.
I have that setting turned off. They can't do that.
Oh, good job. Good job, Chef.
Yeah. I'm a computer whiz, man. Well, not really computer whiz.
That's why I pay the big bucks.
That's why I get paid the big bucks.
All right. I actually won a week, and I'm happy about that. So I won 2 games. I won the pick to Alabama, which everybody else won. And then for some reason, Opie and Chef were wrong about Minnesota, and I won that one. But I was the one week that I went against Ole Miss. I lost. I'd have been 3 for 3 this week.
I picked Ole Miss, though.
Yeah, the first time the whole time.
Yeah, I'm on a downward spiral. That's 2 weeks in a row. I've only got one right.
That's all right. That'll work itself out. All right, this week's comment. We're gonna go to Carol White. It says, "What would be y'all's playoff predictions be?" I posted a comment on there just a little bit ago, and I said, I like how they have them ranked. I like that Florida State dropped down. I like TCU being there above Baylor. I like TCU better than Baylor. Alabama's fine. They've been playing good. Oregon's been playing good. Florida State's climbed up there. They're doing all right. I think Arizona's good too. But anyways, that's my little – I'm in Ohio State. Ohio State's climbed up there, and Florida State, I like where they're at. You guys have thoughts or concerns about that?
Yeah, I think 3 and 4 are interchangeable. I mean, one way or another, it doesn't really matter. And then I think 5 and 6 could be. But I think the only reason why Ohio State would be below Baylor is because J.T. Barrett got hurt. Other than that, I'm happy with it all the way around.
Yeah, the only thing I would say I would change is I thought that 5 and 6 could be switched and put Baylor ahead of Ohio State. But other than that, I'm cool with the rankings.
That's just because you're biased of Baylor. I'm just going to let it out there and let everybody hear it. You're biased for Baylor.
Hey, be a bear, be you.
That's the new slogan that Opie just come up with.
Actually, that was Chef.
All right, we got a little bit of a simple poll this week for you guys to vote on. Who do you think is going to be number 1? Right? Is that what it was?
I believe so.
Confirmed.
All right, so who do you think you guys are going to be number 1? You think Alabama's going to stay up there where they're at? You think Oregon over a good win over Arizona? Are they going to climb up? There you go. Nice, easy peasy.
For the games this week, what we're going to do is we're going to pick, since it's pretty much conference championship week, we're going to pick the top 4 teams because they all play a game, and we're going to decide what the picks are going to be. So our first pick, number 1, Alabama at, well, I don't know if it's an at, what's that, Georgia, but essentially at number 16, Missouri. That's why I don't do this part. That's why you do this part, because I get confused.
Well, I made you do the hard one.
Yeah, they're at, but it's a neutral site location.
It's a neutral site. It's in Atlanta, Georgia.
Stinking neutral site locations.
Yeah.
Bullcrap. All right, so, who do you got?
Yeah, this is a real tough game for me, personally.
You acting like that's a big choice, Opie.
This is going to be the second easiest pick we have to make out of the 4, and I'm taking Alabama.
I'm gonna agree with you, Ope. I'm gonna take Alabama. I want Missouri to win, but they pulled it out against Arkansas. So,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I want Missouri to win, but Alabama's going to win.
Yeah, Alabama's playing lights out after their loss, so they got it wrapped up.
I don't know if giving up 600 yards of offense to Auburn is called playing lights out, but I'm gonna take Alabama too. I mean, I got some family and a lot of family and stuff that live in Missouri. I secretly want Missouri to win, like Opie, but if we're having to do picks, I gotta take Alabama.
All right, next pick. It's number 7 Arizona at number 2 Oregon, which also neutral site location. Stupid neutral site locations. I hate you guys.
It's Santa Clara, California.
Yeah, Mike, who you got?
I'm taking Oregon. They've been playing good. Marcus Mariota, best quarterback in the country. I don't know what else there is to say about it besides Scooby. But offensive line's been playing better. Defense has been playing better for Oregon. I think they get them this time around.
Yeah, I think this is very interesting. I think this may be the only rematch we have. But I'm actually going to also take Oregon this time around.
I'm going to take Arizona just to be kind of the rebel. And Oregon's only blemish on the season, so they're going to come out pumped up, ready to go. And I think it could be an upset. Unlikely, but I'm shooting for Arizona this game. All right, next game, TCU, or actually Iowa State at TCU. Number three TCU. I'm gonna go ahead and say TCU on that one.
Yeah, TCU's a 34-point favorite. I'm gonna go ahead and do TCU also.
I'm scratching my head on this one, but I'm gonna go ahead and take TCU.
Well, there wasn't a pick for Baylor, so that's the only one you had to pick.
The fourth game is number 4 Florida State at number 11 Georgia Tech. Also neutral site location. Oh my gosh. I want Georgia Tech. I'm gonna start this off just in case you're wondering. I want Georgia Tech because every week is an upset alert for Florida State. Every single week has been an upset alert for them. I want Georgia Tech to win. You know what? I'm actually gonna pick Georgia Tech to win it. I'm gonna pick them.
If you weren't going to, I was going to. I'm still going to do it. You know what? Go Georgia Tech, and I'm a Yellow Jacket fan right now, today.
Yeah, I think this is the one team that could give Florida State a lot of trouble with the
one team. I'm just going to interrupt you. The one team. Never mind like the 6 prior, like every other game they've played. Come on, Ope.
The one team that could give them enough trouble to actually beat them in the last 2 years is what I'm trying to say. And I am actually also taking Georgia Tech in this game.
Wow. Nobody wants the undefeated team. All right, then the 2 other games, they're kind of the outside looking in just because it could be potentially big for them if they win it. Number 13, Wisconsin at number 5, Ohio State in neutral site location. We're not going to do the picks on these, but interesting games to watch because if one of the top 4 loses, they could jump up ahead if they win. Ohio State wins, and then number 9, K-State at a number 6, Baylor, which could also be huge, especially since if the Big 12 isn't going to crown a conference champion, a single conference champion, then it's going to be huge implications if they win it.
Well, you know what their slogan is, right?
One true champion.
Hey, we've all seen that commercial one too many times.
I could, like I've told y'all before, I could almost quote that commercial. It's just so many, but that's what they said. They were like, it's not actually one true champion. It's because we play everybody once, so one true champion.
Kind of, but not really.
But not really.
But we're kind of just going to go about whatever the poll picks.
Yeah, because our one true champion's Baylor because they beat TCU. But I mean,
if they get in the top 4, then they're not. But they're kind of not really. But then they kind of are. So we really don't know what we're going to do. We're just going to stand on the fence, and whatever side does good, we're just going to hop over to that side. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense to me.
What I think is interesting is I don't know, I can't remember if I heard the number right, but that the quarterback starting for Ohio State this weekend. Yeah, I think Cardell Jones is what they pulled up, and I think it said that he had 30 snaps this year is what I think I heard. I can't remember that for sure. But what they did say is that going into spring practice or whatever, he was the backup quarterback, and Barrett – is Barrett the current? And Barrett was the third string quarterback, so – in training camp, Barrett actually beat him out. So he could actually end up being a good quarterback. But, I mean, none of us really know because no one's seen enough of him to know what he can do.
I'm going to say no, that Cordell Jones is not going to be anything close to what JT Barrett was, and that Ohio State's probably going to struggle on offense a little bit against Wisconsin unless Ohio State's defense can really do a good job of pulling it out. This is going to be a really close game, but I kind of, in a way, hope that Ohio State doesn't get in the top 4. That's not because I don't like Ohio State. That's because I don't want to see the third string quarterback against Alabama or TCU or Baylor or Alabama or Oregon or whoever gets in there. I don't want to see that. I'm a fan of college football as a whole. I want to see good matchups. I don't want to see third string quarterbacks. That's the same thing as if Mariota gets hurt, I don't know who the backup is at Oregon. I don't want to see that. That's kind of like that. Remember the national championship game when Texas played and Colt McCoy got hurt? It was like, okay, well now what? Who's this other guy? I don't even want to watch this no more. Let's go watch whatever else is on TV.
Wheel of Fortune.
Silly. Wheel of Fortune. Except it's not on that late, but whatever.
I know I wasn't saying he's going to be as good as Barrett is. I'm just saying that they just said he was the starter in the spring, and I just thought that was kind of interesting that maybe he's going to end up being a good quarterback. I mean, because I don't think that week one we'd have thought that Barrett was going to have the season that he's had so far. And like I said, I don't know who this guy is. I just thought that was interesting that I heard that.
All right, and then something that I thought was real interesting is the way they had the playoff bracket set up currently. I mean, Florida State dropping in number 4 kind of sets up an interesting situation of Alabama playing Florida State in the first round and Oregon TCU, which I'm perfectly fine with both of those games because I think if Florida State could beat any of those teams, it would be an Alabama team. Because they're not going to beat TCU, they're not going to beat Oregon. No way. No.
So basically, what you're saying is, if Jameis Winston comes out, throws 4 picks in the first half, they're going to have a good chance of beating Alabama.
I'm saying out of the 4 teams that are in the top 4, or the 3 other teams in the top 4, Florida State's only chance to win is playing Alabama.
I think he's right too because Alabama's offense. I mean, look at how they did against Arkansas. A block extra points, how they won. Not that I'm saying Arkansas is a good or bad team. I'm just saying that sometimes you see Alabama does not score the points needed, and it seems like Florida State always scores at least enough points to win. And Alabama, you really wonder if they're going to score enough points. Like last week, they probably would have beat Florida State the way they played against Auburn, despite the 3 interceptions by their whatever his name is in the first half.
But I mean, out of all the games, if it's the way it is right now, I would watch all 3 of those games. I mean, there's no doubt about it. 'Cause I would watch the Florida State Alabama, I would watch the TCU Oregon, and then whoever wins. I mean, I think it would be a good enough playoff system where I would watch all 3 of the games.
Yeah, I would too. I want to watch them all, and I'm going to regardless of whatever teams get in there. But I disagree with both of you guys as far as y'all's assessment of that first game if it was Florida State versus Alabama. Now, the big playmakers for Florida State, O'Leary. So I know Alabama can match up perfectly with that. I mean, they got probably 7 guys that we're going to see playing in the NFL in defense, and a lot of them playing on offense. I think that O'Leary would have a better time matching up against like an Oregon or a TCU on a defense like that that's a little bit weaker. And I know that Oregon gave up all those points against Auburn, but Auburn's been doing that to all kinds of people. I don't even know how he's been getting those passes off when he throws it 45 yards downfield and Sammy Coates jumps up and catches it out of the air. I mean, that's crazy. That's just the craziest shit I've ever seen, really.
Cooper.
What? No,
Mark.
Auburn doing it against Alabama. Because I mean, how many times have we seen that?
Right.
A lot. I'm like, oh my god, where is he throwing the ball to? All of a sudden the camera goes, and there's 2 guys there, and here's Sammy Coates. Or Duke Williams.
But I also think that what's gotten lost, and I'm not saying, because I haven't watched a lot of the Florida State games, I'm not saying that their defense is good, but despite Jameis Winston playing not good football, not just last week, but actually most of the year, I don't know how many interceptions he's thrown. I'm sure it's got to be getting close to 20 now. But despite how bad he's played, that defense has kept them in games enough where they could come back and win at the end. So I think that's why I think they'd match up well against Alabama is that.
But they've kept them in close games because of how the other teams are. They've kept them in close games because it was Miami, because it was Boston College, because it was Florida, because it was Notre Dame. We're not talking about those. Those teams aren't even in the same. Those teams aren't allowed to carry Alabama's pads around. Those defenses and Alabama's defense those ain't even on the same planet, not even the same universe. He throws all those picks against any of those teams. I don't care if it's Arizona. I'd put money on Arizona versus Florida State. Any of the top, probably 8. Because they haven't played good teams, and that's the biggest problem I have with Florida State. They've been having problems with Boston College. And like I've said it before, but I'm not beating down Boston College or the Notre Dames or any of those kind of schools like that, but they're not the caliber of some of these other teams we're seeing at the top of the rankings here at the end of the year. And that's the biggest complaint I have. Yeah, they've won all their games, but big deal. You look sorry in all of them. And Chef said it before. It come down to all this lucky stuff. It come down to a player from Florida missing the football, and it bounced in the air, and he ran it back for a pick 6. And 2 missed field goals. How many times have we said that? of the teams that they've beat. Yeah, those are lucky plays and the ones he throws in double coverage and like the guy comes down with it. All that's gonna run out at some point. And when all that's not gonna add up, somebody's gonna drop 40 on them when they play a good team. And it's not gonna be pretty.
But you could say that for even Alabama too, that they've gotten lucky this year also. I mean, it's
time after time after time.
Yes, they do. I mean,
where's it at? Let's see.
I mean, the Arkansas game. I mean, they had a block extra point. Is how they won. They won because of a block extra point. How many block extra points do you get in a year?
That's one blocked extra point. The thing is, Florida stayed in it because their kicker, the first 2 field goals, like a 49 and a 51-yard field goal or something like that. That was the first 3 scores was like field goals over 45 yards because the offense is that bad. Now you say if that was TCU or pick whatever team you want in the top probably 7, and he said, okay, first possession, first throw, interception against TCU. What do you think is going to happen? Or Baylor. Pick Baylor.
We're just talking about, though, for Alabama. I don't think that Florida State can beat TCU, Oregon, or Baylor because those are 2 high-powered offenses. I just think they can stay in the game and beat Alabama because it's going to be a lower-scoring game. Florida State's not going to be able to score.
I don't think if he throws all those turnovers and playing like that, it's not going to be low-scoring because Florida State's not going to be able to move the football.
I mean, they just seem to find a way to move the ball, though, is what I'm saying, is that I think they could beat Alabama. I don't think they could stay up with the other team. I think one thing I do think that works out for TCU and Baylor in this situation this week, and not that Baylor's going to get to the top 4 or not will or won't, but is that they're actually playing games the same week as the conference championship games are. Because I think in previous years, and I could be wrong, I don't know that for sure. We've talked about that off mic, but I think in previous years there's been a bye week. They've had the last games, and then the teams that didn't play in the conference championship had a bye week. I think that Baylor playing Kansas State and TCU at least playing Iowa, that's good for them having a game the same week instead of not playing at all.
I'm interested to see if any of the top 4, let's just say one of the top 4 loses, do you think they fall out of the top 4 and Ohio State or Baylor jumps them, or do you think they stay in it?
No, I think if TCU loses, then yeah, they're probably not going to. But however, for some reason, I don't really know why, probably Alabama doesn't, and I would say that Oregon doesn't either, because who would you pick on the bottom that you would say was better than Alabama or Oregon?
Well, I think that if Oregon loses, I think if they're going to put a 2-loss team in, there is a chance they could swap Oregon and Arizona because Oregon would have lost 2 games to Arizona. Not saying Arizona's a better team. I'm just saying that if they beat them twice, that's got to say something to the committee that they beat them twice, even though Arizona has 2 bad losses.
I don't think they would swap, no. So if Oregon loses to Arizona, Arizona is not going to swap and be number 2 in the country.
Yeah, I don't mean swap into.
They're not going to get into the playoffs either.
Yeah, they may not get into playoffs. I think if one of those
it'll
top
push
4,
Ohio State up, it'll push Baylor up there. That's about it. It'll push Baylor or Ohio State.
I could see Arizona leapfrogging a Baylor or Ohio State. I mean, they wouldn't make it in the 4, but I could see them going a 5 or a 6 if they beat Oregon.
If Baylor beats Kansas State, I can't see them getting past with 1 loss and then beating Kansas State this week also, because it's not like Kansas State's a bad team unless we all of a sudden think now that Kansas State's not as good as TCU and Baylor, and which are not as good as those 2. But
well, they're even. There's not a I always like looking at the Vegas stuff.
Yeah, I did see that too.
Either they don't have one. I guess they don't have one yet. They don't know what the line's going to be because it's not even. If it's even, it says it's even.
Yeah, I think if a top 4 team loses, it depends. All depends on how Ohio State's new quarterback plays. If Jones doesn't play good, and well, if they didn't play good and they lose, then it doesn't really matter. But with not having Barrett in is a huge factor, and the fact that they didn't even really throw that into consideration, it speaks volumes for what the heck they're talking about in the room. But I mean, they've been pretty good all year round at picking and knowing what the heck they're talking about. So I'm anxious to see, because I think if one of the top 4 teams loses, I could see an Ohio State being a top 4 and leaving Baylor on the outside looking in. But it's just one of those, I guess, different perspective, because I know Ope doesn't agree with that.
I think it depends on how the quarterback plays. If they win a game and he plays really bad, I think, and Baylor wins, I guess convincingly, I think they're going to jump Ohio State and move into the top 4 spot if one of those teams loses. But if he plays good, then I don't see, and looks like Barrett did, then I don't see Baylor passing them. I mean, I want him to, but I don't see it happening if he plays good.
If one of the top 4 teams loses and Ohio wins, for them to get in there above Baylor beating Kansas State, then I think Ohio has to play lights out. I mean, their defense is on par, and they keep Melvin Gordon to very few rushing yards, let's say 100 or 105 or something like that. They keep him down there like that, and the offense plays good, and they're able to run the ball, and they really, really, really make a dominant showing against Wisconsin. And then whatever the third string, Jones, if he's able to put out a good showing passing the football also, then yes, I can see it. But I'm talking about really dominant. Because I don't know how well he runs the football. How well is he going to be able to run the read option but down there on the goal line, running the little, whatever that play is, quarterback power up the middle? How good is he going to be able to run all this stuff? I'd put money on it that not as good as J.T. Barrett. After watching J.T. Barrett play, I think he's better than Braxton. Because Braxton wasn't all that good last year. I mean, he was good, but some of the stuff that I've seen from Barrett, and I think I made one of the comments that Brandon said, Ohio State surprised me, and J.T. Barrett, he's really come around. He's playing good.
But I don't think Jones has to play as good as Barrett does. Jones has to play he has to manage the game, not turn the ball over, complete passes, and keep the ball going downfield. Because he's not going to come in and replace him instantly. I mean, if he comes in and does that, then whatever they're doing with quarterbacks in Ohio State, they need to start doing that all over the country. But I think that he just got to play. If he throws 3 interceptions, then yeah, I think it's gonna be hard for them to jump into that top 4. And if he struggles like that, I don't want to see him jump in the top 4 either. Like you said earlier.
Well, it could be interesting too because I know Petty got knocked out last game with a concussion. So is he gonna? I don't know. I didn't look, so I don't know if he's cleared to play already. If he's not. So that could be a consideration because they didn't do crap whenever he was gone. They didn't do anything. The defense struggled, offense struggled. It was bad against Tech.
And Tech's a bad team.
Bad team.
But I think that Baylor will find a doctor somewhere that says, "Yeah, Mr. Petty, you're good to play."
Yeah, I don't know what the protocol is as far as how they do that in college.
I'm not sure either, but he's going to play. Yeah, so if he doesn't play, if Bryce Petty doesn't play, Kansas State's going to win.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. But, I don't want to see him get hurt. I didn't want to see Barry get hurt either. You want to see these teams with their full teams here at the end of the year playing because how much better would this weekend be if Barrett was playing? We assume Petty's playing. We hope he's playing. And, I mean, these guys are all playing and competing. Then it makes it a lot better weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just go back to the first of the year. If Oregon's offensive line is healthy, the game probably doesn't look the same.
Right.
You need everybody. You need your special teams. You need your offensive line. You need your defensive line. You need all the starters, and you need everybody. And that goes from all the way down, up and down. You need your good returners and whoever it is for special teams and everything.
And for Oregon, like you're saying, that they're getting healthy and playing good at the right time. It's like they're peaking. And another team is TCU. I mean, they've been playing. Even the game they lost to Baylor, they played good in that game. They've played good all year. It's like they're just staying up there, and you just hope that they can continue it. You don't want to have a letdown here against Iowa State, which not that they're going to lose, but you don't want to have a letdown and play a bad game here getting ready to go into the playoffs because, I mean, at this point, being number 3, I think the only thing they can do is hurt themselves at this point.
Yeah, they don't want to come out and win by 3. They need another week of just asserting dominance.
So do you see any way that Florida State could win this weekend and not finish in the top 4?
No.
They asked Kurt Perdstree about that, and I thought his answer was funny. He said that they could win on a safety on the last play of the game, and they would still finish in the top 4. I just thought that was funny. He said that.
I mean, they haven't played well enough all season to be 12-0 in my opinion. I mean, they've won all their games. There's no doubt about it. But they've struggled in games they shouldn't have. But you still, like Ope said all year long, you still have to respect the undefeated. I mean, I think 4 is the lowest they fall, and then if they fall to 5, then that's gonna be a storm brewing.
That's another thing that's why I don't mind TCU being above Baylor, even though Baylor beat them. Yes, Baylor beat them. They won head to head, but it doesn't mean everything. Now, we're gonna see a rematch. I'm not fond of rematches. I don't like that. I don't want to see teams play teams over again. It's kind of, I don't know, counterintuitive, I guess. I don't want to keep seeing the same stuff over and over again.
You wouldn't want to see that Alabama-Auburn game from last week every week?
No. I don't want to see any of the games over again. But that doesn't necessarily mean just because one team beats another team, that means they were maybe better than them on that day. The way Florida State's been playing, I'd probably put money on it that, you know what? If Boston College they played like a 3-game series, what would that look like? Or if they played, or if they played Notre Dame. Would Notre Dame beat them if they had a 3-game set? Kind of like baseball or basketball or anything else where they have, a little series. I think that goes for all these teams up and down the board. That's not how football is.
Yeah, I think if they drop Florida State out of the top 4, it's like the committee is really against Florida State because I don't know if it's because of the Jameis Winston antics that's going on or what, but if they go undefeated and they drop to number 5, that's got to be that's even worse than the BCS Bowl we had before this when the computer was decided, because there's no reason for them not to get to play in the playoffs going undefeated, because they did play a tough enough schedule to guarantee themselves going undefeated in the top 4. I think any team in the Power 5 conferences going undefeated has played a tough enough schedule to guarantee their spot in the top 4.
All right, in closing, the bowl games are coming up here pretty quick, and with that brings Bowl Mania. We'll probably have something either with picking against the lines as far as Vegas is concerned, or doing the confidence points. So we want all you guys to join in too. And so we'll have one of those two. We don't know what we're going to do yet. All the bowl games aren't set anyway quite yet, but they will be soon. So be on the lookout for that stuff. We'll let everybody know somehow. Either on this video, we'll make another video and post it up, or we'll have Chef throw it out on his Twitter. So be checking around and all that stuff. We want you guys to join in. We probably have like a little prize or something to give out to the person that wins. Of course, you'll be playing against me and Chef and Opie. So be on the lookout for that. Bowl Mania is always fun to try to pick all that kind of stuff. But another good show. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun, guys.
It was a good one.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
Deuces.
Later, guys.